Hello and welcome to Team Knack's Week 4 video walkthrough. Alright, bring that up a little bit, bring this down. So for this week we've been focusing on trying to further implement or adjust some of the features that we have and trying to figure out a way to make them to where they interact more with the player and it provides a more fun experience as well. So one of the biggest things, we'll go start a brand new game. One of the biggest things was the enemy. Oh, alright, so that looks kind of funny. So we're working on trying to get the animation working. So we've got the actual gun to rotate still, shoots in the direction that the cursor's in. It's a slight offset, but that can be corrected through the script where the center of the cursor is. But the animation will follow. The idea is that the arms and the head will follow wherever the cursor is, and then when the cursor reaches to that midway point where it kind of moves into the other side of where the player is, it'll rotate the player to face the opposite direction. Of course, you can still move left or right, but the uh, the the mouse will move the rotation of the player. The button controls will just move the directions. Um, that's why it kind of looks a little wonky right now. But this week we were able to achieve some great things with the enemy, which is something that we wanted to. That's kind of funny upside down. Something that we really wanted to do. So right there, the bat actually now follows the player, and when the player leaves the enemy site for more than 5 seconds, the enemy will return back to their original patrol point location. So they have a set speed that they use to patrol their patrol points. This was a little bit faster, but as soon as, and the modes as well. See, now the modes actually follow the player as well. Now the modes don't have a timer. As soon as you leave the I think I'm shooting at it. As soon as you leave the mode's trigger, the modes stop following you. The bats are the ones where, ooh, maybe not. Oh, well, there's a glitch. It's kind of hard to shoot now that we've actually got to use the player. But yeah, so the after 5 seconds, the player escapes from the bats and then the moles. All you have to do is leave the trigger. But upon entering the trigger for either one of them, the enemies will follow. So a similar concept will be used for the boss, which we're working really hard and trying to implement it. So right now, for next month, the last two features we plan on adding is working on a very intense boss fight for the very last level, and this animation for the player trying to get everything working coherent, like together, I guess. But then from there, oh, we also did a change to the plasma. So now the player can actually see how much ammo they have left. So whenever they come back to the charging station, boom, they're back at 100. So instead of having to guess, oh, well, you know, how much ammo do I have? So I'll have these bats chase me. Ooh, you can kind of see, which is pretty cool. Right there, the way they move. Yeah, so, and then the boss fight, which will show real quick kind of what it looks like. So this is kind of what the level looks like now. So as soon as the player enters, there's like a void trigger here. The camera snaps into this one position. So the mode's going to be gone. We're doing away with the mode. We're going to have, or at least our vision at the moment, is to have a bat that kind of flies from point, A to point B. And as the bat moves from point to point, the main boss will instantiate baby bats that will fly, and as soon as they instantiate, they'll start chasing the player, and the player needs to destroy all the bats before they can attack the boss bat, the mama bat. But while all that is going on, these platforms will be falling platforms. So you're gonna have one major, like a small stationary platform in the middle, where you'll have at least a charging station so you can charge your plasma, but then you'll have two platforms on either on both sides of the stationary platform that will fall. And as the player moves between platform from platform to try to survive, they also have the risk of the platform falling while they're on it. And then of course you add the miniature bats coming at the player, and then the big boss going back and forth. So the main boss will never go towards the player, but it will attack the stationary pad, the platform in the middle, because since technically that one doesn't fall, we also don't want it to be like a safe haven for the player where he can just sit there and avoid having to sit and not, or avoid jumping to the other platforms. And of course, as after a set amount of time, the platforms will instantiate again back to the original position, allowing the player another chance to jump back on there. Um, and that's pretty much it so far. After that, the biggest thing also is balancing at that point, is making sure that, especially like the enemies, we're making sure that they're causing enough damage, that the plasma rifle is causing enough damage, that their healths aren't too low, aren't too high, that their trigger volumes aren't too large or too small. So that's kind of something that we'll be working on within the next last few milestones that we have. Um, and then the biggest thing is just polishing at this point. Make sure that the player can have a coherent experience as they progress through the game to the final level where they will experience this boss battle. Um, and then, of course, once they're done, then they'll be, the game will be completed pretty much. Um, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else that we did so far. There's going to be some changes, mainly to like this here. Um, when it was initially set up, it wasn't clamped down um, to the UI. The main menu is going to change. We're working on um, maybe splitting it up some so the main menu isn't so overcrowded. Maybe adding like another scene for like the options, for like the options button that'll take you to um, the resolution, like a drop down box that we have. We just haven't implemented it yet. And I don't know if we are, but it'll figure out like the credits and everything. And that's pretty much it. I don't think we have anything else that we've talked about wanting to do at this point. But I think we're trying to stay away from adding more than we already currently have. So, but yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope next video we can have more to provide, and the game will feel a bit more polished up from this week's. Well, thank you.